China's grand strategy is to displace American order and influence in the Asia-Pacific region and beyond by pursuing three sequential strategies of displacement: blunting, building, and expanding. Blunting is the first strategy of displacement, which aims to weaken and undermine the US-led security system in the region. China has sought to blunt American order by developing anti-access/area denial (A2/AD) capabilities, such as ballistic missiles, submarines, and cyber weapons, that can threaten U.S. military assets and deter U.S. intervention in a potential conflict. China has also sought to blunt American order by challenging U.S. alliances and partnerships, such as by coercing Taiwan, Japan, and the Philippines over territorial disputes, and by offering economic incentives and political support to countries that are willing to align with China's interests. Building is the second strategy of displacement, which aims to create and strengthen a Chinese-led alternative order in the region. China has sought to build Chinese order by expanding its economic influence and integration, such as by launching the Belt and Road Initiative, BRI, a massive infrastructure and investment project that connects China with dozens of countries across Eurasia and Africa. China has also sought to build Chinese order by increasing its diplomatic and institutional presence and leadership, such as by establishing the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, AIB, a multilateral development bank that rivals the US-dominated World Bank and International Monetary Fund. Expanding is the third strategy of displacement, which aims to project and extend China's power and influence globally. China has sought to expand Chinese order by developing a blue water navy that can operate in distant seas and protect China's overseas interests and citizens. China has also sought to expand Chinese order by engaging in island building and militarization in the South China Sea, where it claims sovereignty over most of the waters and features. China has also sought to expand Chinese order by increasing its involvement and influence in global governance and norms setting, such as by promoting its own vision of human rights, internet sovereignty, and development cooperation. China's grand strategy is driven by its perception of American decline and its own rise, as well as by its historical memory of humiliation and aspiration for rejuvenation. China's grand strategy is also shaped by key events that change its assessment of American power and resolve, such as the 2008 global financial crisis, the 2011 U.S. pivot to Asia, and the 2016 election of Donald Trump. China's grand strategy poses a serious challenge to the US-led liberal international order that has underpinned peace and prosperity in the Asia-Pacific region and beyond for decades. China's grand strategy in the Pacific is to displace American order and establish its own regional and global influence. However, this ambitious strategy faces several challenges and risks that could undermine China's rise and stability. One challenge is domestic instability. China's authoritarian system relies on economic growth, social stability, and nationalist legitimacy to maintain its rule. However, China faces many internal problems, such as income inequality, environmental degradation, corruption, ethnic unrest, demographic decline, and public discontent. These problems could erode the regime's legitimacy and trigger social unrest or political crisis. Another challenge is economic slowdown. China's economic miracle has been fueled by export-led growth, investment-driven development, and state intervention. However, these factors have also created structural imbalances, such as overcapacity, debt, and financial risks. China needs to shift to a more sustainable and balanced growth model that relies on domestic consumption, innovation, and market reforms. However, this transition is difficult and uncertain, especially amid trade tensions, geopolitical competition, and global uncertainties. A third challenge is technological competition. China has invested heavily in science and technology to achieve self-reliance and global leadership in key sectors such as artificial intelligence, biotechnology, quantum computing, and 5G. However, China still faces gaps in basic research, core technologies, and talent development. Moreover, China faces increasing resistance and backlash from the United States and its allies, who are concerned about China's technological theft, espionage, and military applications. The US-China tech rivalry could lead to decoupling, fragmentation, and confrontation in the global innovation system. A fourth challenge is regional backlash. China's assertive behavior in the Pacific has provoked anxiety and resistance from its neighbors and other stakeholders. China's territorial claims in the South China Sea and East China Sea have triggered disputes and tensions with countries such as Vietnam, the Philippines, Japan, and Taiwan. China's economic coercion against countries such as Australia, South Korea, and India has damaged its reputation and trust. China's military expansion and presence in the Pacific have raised concerns about its intentions and capabilities. These factors have led to a counterbalancing coalition of countries that seek to preserve the rules-based order and balance China's power. A fifth challenge is potential conflict with the United States and its allies. China's grand strategy is fundamentally incompatible with the US-led order that has shaped the Pacific for decades. The US-China rivalry is not only about trade or technology but also about values, norms, and institutions. The two powers have divergent interests and visions for the region and the world. The risk of conflict is especially high in flashpoints such as Taiwan, the South China Sea, and the Korean Peninsula. A military confrontation between China and the United States could have catastrophic consequences for both sides and for global peace and stability. In conclusion, China's grand strategy in the Pacific is a bold but risky endeavor that could backfire if it fails to address the challenges and risks it faces. China needs to adopt a more prudent and responsible approach that respects the interests and concerns of other countries and contributes to regional cooperation and stability. China's grand strategy in the Pacific is based on its long-term vision of becoming a regional and global power that can challenge and eventually displace the US-led order. China's grand strategy has three main objectives: to secure its land and maritime borders, to expand its influence and presence in the Asia-Pacific region, and to shape a new international system that reflects its interests and values. However, China's grand strategy could backfire if it overestimates its own capabilities and underestimates the resolve and resilience of other actors, especially the United States, to defend their interests and values in the face of China's assertiveness. There are several reasons why China's grand strategy could fail or encounter serious obstacles. First, China's military modernization and expansion, especially its naval and missile forces, could provoke a security dilemma and an arms race with the United States and its allies in the region. China's growing sea power, inspired by Mahan's theory of naval supremacy, could threaten the freedom of navigation and access of other countries in the Indo-Pacific. China's assertive actions in the South China Sea, East China Sea, Taiwan Strait, and Indian Ocean could also trigger conflicts or crises with neighboring countries that have territorial disputes or security concerns with China. The United States, as the dominant maritime power and security guarantor in the region, would not tolerate China's attempts to undermine its interests and alliances. The US has already adopted a more competitive and confrontational approach to China, as evidenced by its Indo-Pacific strategy, which aims to preserve a free and open regional order. Second, China's political and economic influence in the region could face resistance and backlash from other countries that value their sovereignty and autonomy. China's Belt and Road Initiative, BRI, which is a key component of its grand strategy to build a new international system with Chinese characteristics, could encounter challenges from countries that are wary of China's debt trap diplomacy, predatory investments, environmental degradation, corruption, and human rights violations. China's attempts to shape regional institutions and norms, such as the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, RCP, the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, AIB, and the Code of Conduct in the South China Sea, could also be contested by countries that prefer a more inclusive and rules-based regional order. Moreover, China's soft power and cultural appeal in the region could be undermined by its authoritarian governance, lack of transparency, censorship, propaganda, and human rights abuses. Third, China's grand strategy could be derailed by internal factors that could limit its resources and capabilities. China faces many domestic challenges that could hamper its economic growth and social stability, such as an aging population, a debt crisis, an environmental crisis, a public health crisis, an innovation gap, a middle-income trap, ethnic unrest, social inequality, corruption, and political dissent. China also faces ideological challenges that could erode its legitimacy and cohesion, such as nationalism, populism, liberalism, democracy, separatism, and religious extremism. These internal factors could constrain China's ability to sustain its grand strategy in the long run. In conclusion, China's grand strategy in the Pacific could backfire if it overestimates its own capabilities and underestimates the resolve and resilience of other actors, especially the United States, to defend their interests and values in the face of China's assertiveness. China's grand strategy faces many external and internal challenges that could limit its success or trigger unintended consequences. Therefore, China should be more prudent and realistic in pursuing its grand strategy in the Pacific.